This is the day that the Lord has made, so let us rejoice and be glad in it. Hello and happy Friday. God bless you. I am Pastor A.D., Pastor of True Vine, MBC here in Houston, Texas. Now, thank you so much for joining us for what I like to call the pastoral moment. This is the time I get to encourage you and enlighten you with the Word of God. But today, I have something different because this is Black History Month and it's almost over with. So today I want to talk about the African American pioneers that has truly led the way, opened doors for us, male and female. And it's several, however, I have four for you today. And very important people, our history. And so I'm going to start with Phyllis Wheatley. Phyllis Wheatley. And she was a poet. And she was born 1753 through 1784. Born in West Africa and sold into slavery, she learned to read and write by the age of 9 and became the first African American woman to publish a book of poetry. In addition to having to prove she had indeed written the poetry, no one in America would publish her work. She was forced to go to England, where the pieces were published in London in 1773. Years later, she sent one of her poems to George Washington, who requested and received a meeting with her at his headquarters in Cambridge in 1776. So we got to give it up to Phyllis Wheatley. Phyllis Wheatley, a poet. And then we have Sadie Tanner Moselle Alexander, also known as Sadie T.M. Alexander, and a writer. She was a writer, and she lived from 1898 to 1989. So she lived a long time. A native Philadelphian, Alexander was the first Black woman to receive a PhD in economics in the United States, the first Black woman student to graduate with a law degree from Penn Law School, and the first African American woman to practice law in Pennsylvania. Alexander's work and views are recorded in speeches kept in the Penn archives. The Sadie T.M. Alexander University of Pennsylvania Partnership School, Penn Alexander, that's the name of the school, Penn Alexander, in West Philly is named after her. So we got to give it up for her. She has a school named after her. So that's very important. And she is truly appreciated. And then we have, of course, you know it, Langston Hughes. I love Langston Hughes. I love his poetry. He's a poet also, and I love his poetry. Langston Hughes lived from 1902 to 1967. Hughes was an American poet, social activist, novelist, playwright, and columnist. Born in Missouri, he moved to New York at an early age, becoming one of the earliest innovators of a New York art form, jazz poetry. In the early 1920s, his first book of poetry was published, and he wrote an in-depth weekly column for the Chicago Defender, highlighting the civil rights movement. His ashes are entered beneath a floor medallion in the middle of the foyer in the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture in Harlem. That's awesome. The entrance to an auditorium named for him. So we definitely got to give it up for Langston Hughes, a great poet, and he really set the tone in the early 1920s for us. And then lastly, we have Daniel Hale Williams, and the first successful heart surgery. He had the first successful heart surgery as an African American, Daniel Hale Williams, and he lived from 1858 to 1931, the son of a barber. Daniel Hale Williams founded the first Black-owned hospital in America. Wow. And performed the world's first successful heart surgery in 1893. Williams was born in 1858 in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, the fifth of 7 children. After his father died, his mother, Sarah Price Williams, moved the family several times. Young Daniel started as a shoemaker, but quickly knew he wanted more education. He completed secondary school in Wisconsin. At age 20, Williams became an apprentice to a former surgeon general for Wisconsin, Williams studied medicine at Chicago Medical College. After his internship, he went into private practice in an integrated neighborhood on Chicago's South Side. He soon began teaching anatomy at Chicago Medical College and served as surgeon to the City Railway Company. In 1889, the governor of Illinois appointed him to the state's Board of Health. Determined that Chicago should have a hospital where both black and white doctors could study in it and where black nurses could receive training, Williams rallied for a hospital open to all races. After months of hard work, he opened a Providence Hospital and Training School for nurses on May the 4th, 1891. Man, he was doing this in the 1800s. That is amazing. The country's first interracial hospital and nursing school. One hot summer night in 1893, a young Chicagoan named James Cornish was stabbed in the chest and rushed to Providence. When Cornish started to go into shock, Williams suspected a deeper wound near the heart. He asked 6 doctors, 4 were white, 2 were black, to observe while he operated. In a cramped operating room with crude anesthesia, Williams inspected the wound between 2 ribs, exposing the breastbone. He cut the rib cartilage and created a small trapdoor to the heart. Underneath, he found a damaged left inner mammary artery and soldered it. Then, inspecting the wound, he saw that the knife had left a gash near the right coronary artery. With the heart beating and transfusion impossible, Williams rinsed the wound with salt solution, held the edges of the palpating wound with forceps, and sewed them together. Just 51 days after his apparently lethal wound, James Cornish walked out of the hospital. He lived for over 20 years after the surgery. The landmark operation was held in the press. And also, to close, in 1894, Dr. Williams became chief surgeon of Freedman's Hospital in Washington, D.C., the most prestigious medical post available to African Americans then. There, he made improvements that reduced the hospital's mortality rate. In 1895, he helped to organize the National Medical Association for Black Professionals, who were barred from the American Medical Association. Williams returned to Chicago and continued as a surgeon, and in 1913, he became the first African American to be inducted into the American College of Surgeons. So give it up for Dr. Williams, man. I mean, we have such rich history, but we rarely hear about it. But I thank God for giving us resources that we are able to research and find our black, amazing, intelligent, beautiful people that were very successful way back then, and we still have some today. Well, God bless you, and I thank you, and I pray that you were enriched by that, and I pray that you learned a lot, and I pray that you heard something that you never heard before about someone. And so share the history, share this channel, share this video with other people, and please tune in Sunday for the Word of God. And I thank you so much for all your support. We here at True Vine, we love you, and we are praying for you. For we are the Church of Love. God bless.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and join our online Christian family. Tithes, offerings, and donations can be made via Cash App at $TVMBC or by mail at True Vine Missionary Baptist Church, 1407 Grove Street, Houston, Texas 77020. Thank you so much and have a blessed day.